Someone close to you is influencing your decisions right now, and you have no idea it's happening. That conversation that left you feeling small, that wasn't bad luck. That was a technique. In the next few minutes, I'm going to name 6 specific psychological moves being used on ordinary people every single day and show you exactly how to stop falling for them. And the last one? Nobody talks about it. Ever. Mirroring. Most people take it as a sign someone genuinely likes them. Same taste in music, same sense of humor, finishing your sentences. Feels like chemistry. It isn't. Here's what's actually happening. They're not bonding with you, they're studying you. When someone reflects your body language, borrows your words, echoes your energy back at you, your brain marks them as safe, as familiar, as your kind of person. You meet them Monday. By Wednesday, you're telling them things you haven't told your closest friends. You don't know why. That's not coincidence, that's craft. Their goal was never friendship, it was your trust. And trust is a key to every door you'd normally keep locked. So what do? Pay attention to people who never disagree, never push back, never have a different opinion. Real people have friction. Real people challenge you sometimes. Someone who only ever reflects you isn't connecting, they're collecting. Foot in the door. Most people picture manipulation as a hard sell, pressure, demands, someone forcing your hand. That's not how it actually works. Here's what's actually happening. It starts somewhere you'd never notice. A small request, almost nothing. You say yes without thinking. Then comes another, slightly bigger. Then another. Each one feels reasonable because you already said yes to the last one. By the time the real ask lands on the table, you're already in the habit of agreeing. Your coworker asks you to handle one email while they're busy. Fine. Then it's one meeting. Then somehow it's your entire Friday. You keep saying yes, not because you want to, but because that's who you've become in this situation. That's the shift they were waiting for. Once you see yourself as someone who helps, saying no feels like a personality change, not just a decision. Small compliance builds the runway for bigger compliance. That is the whole game. So what do? Before you say yes to anything, ask yourself one clean question. Would I agree to this if it was the very first thing they ever asked me? If the answer is no, that's your answer. Full stop. Strategic pause. Most people read silence as nothing, a gap between words, empty space. That's not what it is. Here's what's actually happening. Silence, used at the right moment, is one of the most precise pressure tools that exists. When someone goes quiet right after you ask for something, right after you push back, right after you make a need known, they aren't pausing to think, they're waiting for you to crack. Because most people can't sit inside discomfort, so they fill it. You finally ask your manager for that raise you've earned. They say nothing. 4 seconds, 5, and before they've said a single word, you start walking it back. I mean, I know the timing isn't perfect. It doesn't have to be the full amount. You negotiated against yourself. They didn't lift a finger. That's the mechanism. Your discomfort becomes their leverage. So what do? Let the silence breathe. Sit in it. Match it. The first one to speak after a tense pause usually gives something up. You are not obligated to fill every quiet moment. Holding your ground without saying a word? That's not awkward. That's control. Guilt tripping. Most people think they'd spot this one coming. Big sighs, passive-aggressive comments, obvious emotional theater. They think it's easy to see. It isn't, not when it's done well. Here's what's actually happening. Skilled guilt trips don't come at you loud. They come in quiet. No accusation, no argument, just a gentle reminder of what they gave you, what they sacrificed, what they've put up with. The history between you slowly gets stacked on one side of the scale until whatever you're asking for feels selfish by comparison. You tell a family member you can't make it to their event, they don't fight you on it, they just say, "No, it's okay, I get it. I just figured after everything we've been through together." and they let that sentence hang there, unfinished. That unfinished sentence does more damage than any argument could. You're not being asked to show up, you're being made to feel like your absence causes them pain, and that you're responsible for that pain. Once you feel responsible, you comply. Every time. The tool isn't emotion, it's debt. Manufactured or real, debt is the chain, and obligation is how they hold the other end. So what do? Start separating care from compliance. You can love someone completely and still hold your boundary. When guilt shows up the exact moment you try to say no, that's not love talking, that's strategy. Recognize the difference and the hold breaks. But all of this was leading somewhere darker. Love bombing and withdrawal. Most people hear love bombing and picture someone who's just overly enthusiastic, texting too much, coming on too strong, harmless. That's not it. Here's what's actually happening. The intensity isn't real affection, it's architecture. Every compliment, every long conversation, every "I've never met anyone like you" is laying foundation. They are positioning themselves as the place where you feel most seen, most valued, most alive. They become your primary source of feeling good about yourself. And then, without warning, it stops. No explanation, no fight, no reason you can point to. The warmth just disappears. The attention shuts off, and you, who were just being flooded with that feeling of being truly chosen, are suddenly standing in the cold wondering what changed. You go back through every message, you analyze your last few conversations, you start adjusting yourself, your tone, your availability, your energy, trying to get back to the version of the relationship that felt that good. You're chasing now. And the chase was always the destination. The withdrawal wasn't a reaction to something you did, it was a scheduled move. The love bombing built the need, the withdrawal turned that need into hunger, and hungry people are easy to steer. They didn't fall for you, they engineered a version of you that couldn't function without their approval. Sit with that sentence, because that's the whole blueprint. Gaslighting. Most people think this means someone flat out lies to your face, denies something obvious, tells you the sky is green. Easy to catch, easy to call out. That's not how it actually operates. Here's what's actually happening. It's quieter than that, more surgical. It doesn't attack what you saw, it attacks your confidence in your own ability to see clearly. Every time you bring something up, the response isn't denial, it's doubt. You're reading too much into it. You always do this. That's not what happened, you're remembering it wrong. Over time, you stop trusting your own memory, your own instincts, your own judgment. You had a conversation, you know what was said, you were there. But they look at you with such certainty, such calm, that you start wondering if maybe you misheard, maybe you misread the tone, maybe you're being too sensitive again. And that word, again, is doing a lot of work because it tells you this is a pattern in you, not in them. That's the whole architecture. They don't need you to believe their version, they just need you to stop trusting yours. So what do? Write things down. Not obsessively, just consistently. Dates, conversations, what was actually said. Not because you need evidence for a courtroom, because your memory needs witness. And when you have a record, the fog clears fast. Gaslighting only works in the absence of receipts. You just learned what most people spend years figuring out the hard way. These 6 moves work because nobody names them. You just did. That changes everything, not someday, starting with the next conversation you walk into. You're not more suspicious now, you're more clear. And clarity is the one thing no manipulation tactic has an answer for. The most dangerous person in any room, the one who sees the game. That is now you.